He won one today. Hasn't been a good season. What do you make? What do you make of it?
Been very poor, really. Very poor. Not won enough. A lot of endeavour, but not enough quality. And at the end of the day, you know, for all the endeavour in the world and all the rest of it, they need to start winning games, and they've not done it. And I don't think, in fairness, Paul Lambert's the man to do it in terms of the manager.
Well, you definitely can't put this season down to him because the results have definitely improved since he's come in. But
They have, but the results are he's won one game since he's been here, and as a manager, that's not good enough. They've drawn plenty, but he's had one win since he's come in, and there's a lot of questions need to be asked about the manager and what he's set up and the style of play, and yeah, fair enough. They've managed to turn.
Stop the rut as it was.
The rut with where it is and conceding loads of goals. But at the end of the day, essentially, you know, he hasn't had the players to work with and all the rest of it with what it is. He's inherited, I think, a very average set of players with where we are. And the biggest mistake that we had goes back to the start of the season with getting rid of Johnny Walters and Whelan, because them two players on their own with the engine room of Stoke, perhaps not on the pitch, but certainly in the dressing room, and you lose the art like that out of a side, and you brought these guys in that have got no real commitment or heart or feeling with where it is, the Mbulas of the world and so forth. And I think we've really struggled, and it showed this season. And you can't go on winning six games all season and expect to stay up. You can't do it.
You obviously mentioned the manager, so I'm taking that you're not a massive fan, but do you think he has it in him to get you back up next season or in the very near future? I think
the whole reason why he's been brought in, because that's been the thinking, because he did it at Norwich and all the rest of it, and he knows the Championship and this, that, and the other, and at the end of the day, when he came in, you know, there was 5 or 6 winnable games there. He won one of them. And I think the board really acted too soon in getting rid of Hughes, and it was I think it was a knee-jerk reaction following the Coventry game that they got rid of him. If they give Hughes the 5 games on that, he could have very easily turned it around. The signings that were made,
he couldn't have done any worse than Lambert did.
No, well, I don't know. The signings that he made in terms of Bauer lifted the side and all the rest of it, and he could have turned it around. There was nothing to say that Hughes, with the side that was in place at the time, he could have got 5 wins or 4 wins out of that.
Well, he's gone to Southampton, and they haven't really turned their results around since he's been there. So I'm not. A lot of Stoke fans I've spoken to, they don't see him as the answer, because he got obviously results in the past few years and high finishes, but this season under him it hasn't been great. Shaqiri's really been the only person to even look at.
It is, and that's been the problem. I mean, sides work us out in terms of where we are in and you close Shaqiri down, you close Stoke off. And we've not been good enough in front. We've not scored enough goals. We've conceded too many goals, and that's a bad combination in any division or any standard. And at the end of the day, you know, I think there's been some really poor signings that have been made, and there's been also, you know, as I was saying about Whelan and Walters. Getting rid of those guys, I think, has affected Stoke more than anything. And at the end of the day, I really feel for us, because I think you know, we've been out of that division. Well, we've been in the division 10 years, but it took us 25 years to get into the division. And I think, looking at the standard in the Championship now, it's going to be very, very difficult to get back in. And you only have to look at the likes of Sunderland and you know, the the Boltons of the world and the like, and you get out of that top flight, it's very difficult, and I think people say to me, "Oh, we'll go down, we'll have a fortune, we'll be selling the likes of Butland, Shaqiri, and so forth, and we'll have £70 million in the bank." But at the end of the day, that 70 million quid that we'll be getting, we haven't got the players that are there now that are capable of getting us back in. Yeah. And I think as well the style of play and everything else that we're doing at the minute, it's not great. We're caught in two minds. Do we go long ball, keep it on the floor? We're not good enough to keep it on the floor and play the passing game, and we're not defensively minded enough to be able to keep clean sheets. We've conceded again today, and those are the players have done it all through the season, and that's why we've got the worst goals scored in probably 2 or 3 divisions. But you never know. There's still time. We've got 9 points to play for. The Liverpool game next week could be instrumental in terms of where we are and how we go.
Well, West Brom showed that obviously when Liverpool do rest up, their weaknesses are exposed, especially at the back, and you could take advantage of that.
Biggest thing for Stoke is how they go on Tuesday night in the Champions League, because if they get a result on Tuesday night, I wouldn't be surprised if Liverpool be resting key personnel for the return leg on the Tuesday, and we could capitalise on it, and if we could come away from there with a result, which we can do, we've got to believe, and you've got to have that belief. There's still 9 points to play for. We're not out of it yet, and it feels like a defeat today, but we've not lost, and as long as the sides above us keep where they are, I think we could get out of it. But
one final question. Butland, should he be first choice for England?
Definitely, 100%. I mean, the guy's tremendous. I mean, like today, he kept Stoke in it. I mean, he did 3 or 4 world-class saves today with where it was. And be honest with you, if it wasn't for Butland, we could have lost 3 or 4-0 today, or 3 or 4-1 today. And that's the thing. And as I say, he's a world-class player, and if he doesn't start in the World Cup, there's something seriously gone wrong in the whole setup, because for one, I don't think there's anybody better than him, because in his distribution, his shot stopping ability and his presence in the area, I think he's first class. The only thing that I think that lets him down a little bit is perhaps his decision making, but he's a young lad, and that'll come with time and experience. And you can't do that at the age it is. And as more games he plays, that gets better, and it'll just round his game off completely.
I agree. Thank you very much for that great interview. Thank you.